Why I'm wearing a crown right now? The answer is I don't know, but I'm actually taking it off because it's pinching my head. Oh man. Let me tell you something, like, women's hair accessories just don't make sense sometimes. I'm just like, yeah, like, this stabby pokey thing, let me put this into your head. That makes perfect sense. Like, no, stop. Okay, so. Okay, so I was just filming, and I was, like, thinking about how I feel like I've done, like, so many real talks in the past where I'm like, hey, like, this is what's going on with me in Modern right now. And I feel like I haven't done one of those because I haven't been playing competitive Magic, and then I feel like I did a lot of videos that, like, indirectly been talking about, like, what has been going on, and, like, my thought process, so I was like, you know, why don't I just, like, stop, like, I hate the phrase beating around the bush, the phrase is, like, terrible, but, like, let me just stop, like, sprinkling it into other videos, that's a better way of putting it, and let me just, like, talk about, like, this thing. Okay, so my Modern experience, my Modern journey. Hi, I'm Tracy. I'm a Magic addict. And this is like my Modern story thing. So, I started playing Modern last year in July. And I had black-white tokens together. Like, I played that deck for a while before before it was like a competitive thing. It was just mono white, and then I splashed black, started playing with it competitively in, like, you know, I made it competitive in, like, May, June, started playing competitive in, like, July, whatever. Okay, so I did that, and then I played that deck for a little while, and then in, like, August, I was like, you know what, this deck's not Bloom Titan. So I built Bloom Titan because that was, like, the deck that was super hyped up, like, you know, a bunch of people I knew were, like, playing it, and it was, like, the deck to play, and I was like, alright, cool, I want to be a cool kid, so I picked that deck up, and that was, like, a super fun experience. And then I played that deck for a little bit, and then I switched back to black-white tokens because Bloom is just way too inconsistent. And I was like, alright, cool, what do I do now? And then I built Elves. And then I played Elves for a while, and then I played Grixis, and I played Grixis Control for, like, months. I played the deck for, like, 5 months, which is, like, the longest I've ever played a Modern deck, so that was cool. And then I built in, like, April, May, and then I built Blue-Eye Control. And I played Blue-Eye Control for, like, April, May, June, and then I stopped playing Modern because I got really frustrated with the format. And it really, I feel like, was more so, like, why I was so frustrated with it was because I felt like I just wasn't, like, devoting enough time to Magic in general, and I really felt like I kind of, like, re-fell in love with EDH, and I feel like I devoted a lot of time and a lot of attention to EDH, and I feel like with Modern, I feel like I need to, like, grind out way more games because I've kind of come to this thing where I feel like I can't just sit around and watch Magic anymore. I'm very, very specific about the stuff that I watch, that I, like, it's not even so much that I have, like, patience for, because, like, I'm a teacher, like, I'm a patient person, but it's, like, I don't even know, like, how to phrase it. It's just, like, there's certain shows that I just have, like, zero interest in watching, and I just won't watch it, and, like, I feel like I've kind of, like, lost my interest with watching Magic, and I feel like it's something that, I even felt like that, like, when I was younger, I played soccer, and, like, I could not watch soccer. I can't do it because I get way too antsy, and I'm like, okay, I just want to do it. Like, when I watch other people doing things, I'm like, no, stop, I need to. Like, I don't even know, like, there's probably, like, a fancy name for it, I don't know, but, like, that's just how I am. So I was like, okay, I can't just sit here and watch people play Magic. It's just not really, like, fun. Watching people, like, watching my friends in my local game store is different. I don't mind that. It's just on a screen when I'm focused, like, distracted by the internet, like everyone else. I just can't do it. So, and to be better at Magic is to play it a lot and to, like, I feel like one way to do it is to watch it, and maybe that helps some people, but I don't know if it helps me. I feel like I'm the type of person where I need to just mess up and figure things out on my own. The same thing with teaching, like, I just need to, like, do it. I don't want someone to, like, lecture me about, like, teaching, to be like, hey, make sure you do this in your classroom. No, just, can I teach and figure out, like, what I'm doing wrong? You know, that's just kind of, like, my thing. So, it's the same thing with Magic. It's like, I want to mess up and I want to be like, oh my gosh, that was really stupid, I can't believe I did that, and then reflect on it later and then get better for next time, hopefully. So, and I feel like when I do get back into it, I want to start keeping track of notes on my games. I want to start being like, okay, like, this card worked in for this matchup or whatever. I feel like I do a lot of processing in my head that it's so weird that I'm a writer, and so I feel like I should write a lot of stuff down. Like, you'd think that because I'm a writer, I would write so many notes to myself, and that I just don't. Guys, I seriously, like, again, with all the teaching stuff, I have so many papers in my closet for teaching of math. I just don't read them. To me, it's like, I don't even know why. It's like I'm a reader. I've actually been like devouring books recently. I've just been like really into like reading again, which is awesome. But it's like, for some reason, I just like can't bring myself to be like, let me reread this document that I said I would hang on to. It's just like, I don't even know like what it is. It's just like, it's not like a lazy. It's just like, I just can't like bring myself to do it. I just don't have like a desire. Like, I just don't have a desire to like watch magic. Like, on my free time, like, my days are crazy now with this new placement. So wake up at 6:30, and then I have to be there at 7:40. Our day is from 7:40 to 3, and then I drive home. With traffic and stuff, I get home at like 4. And from 4 to about like 9, 9:30, 10, depending on what time I go to bed, I'm just like, that time, like, looking at myself right now in these couple of weeks coming up, I don't see myself sitting and watching magic. Like, you know, that's not just what I want to do in like my free time. I want to read. I want to, I just finished like The Absolutely True Diary of a Part-Time Indian by Sherman Alexie, and it was amazing. It was such a good book. It was super good. I have like comic books that I want to read. I'm also reading, The Book Thief, because I love Holocaust literature so much. It's just like, it's just so, like, it's just so important, and I just like love reading about it, and just like learning more about it. I just like want to learn like everything about it. So, and then playing like video games, and that to me is like what I want to do with my free time. Like, watching magic just doesn't like show up in there. So what I had a realization about, and like someone actually commented on this, and I can't remember who, but they were like, I feel like it's difficult to be in modern when you don't have like a disposable income where you can just like buy whatever cards you want. And I was like, that's a really good point. That, like, you know, I know a lot of like kids in Magic who, like, you know, they're like 14, 15, whatever, and they stick to the same deck for a while because the money they get is from like allowance and like report cards and stuff, and that's their income. And it's like, you know, when I think about like spending money on cards, oh yeah, okay, so sorry, that's what I was saying. So for me, it was like kind of like the same thing for a while. It's like I could have spent like just a ton of money on magic cards, but I didn't. And I was like, okay, you know, like it's fine. Let me just like resist the urge, and then I'll just, you know, whatever. And so I stuck to my one deck, and it just wasn't working for me because I feel like I'm someone who I just kind of want to do everything. Like, I feel like, to me, I'm always the person who wants to change things up. I'm always the person I can't stick to the same deck list. I always want to add something spicy. That's why I can't net deck for the life of me. I just can't do it because I'm always like, oh, like, what, you know, this card would work out well, and then people will yell at me, like, Tracy, you can't do that, and I was like, don't tell me to live my life, and then I just proceed to do it anyway, and sometimes it's bad, and then I'm like, okay, cool, that was bad, I'm glad I figured that out on my own, and rather than someone lecturing me about it. So that's like a major thing, is people being like, you can't do that, Tracy, or that's bad, and I'm just like, don't tell me to live my life. I just want to like make mistakes on my own, and, you know. So yeah, I feel like that's like a major thing, and that to me is like, it really sucks that there's a lot of people who want to get into Magic, because the thing about like changing decks up so much is that I feel like it's a really good way for you to not get frustrated. If you're someone who gets frustrated like I am. So and it's so weird when I think about like who I am as a person and like how that translates into Magic. And like I said, I'm very patient, I'm a teacher, that's what I do. But it's like, I get frustrated with Magic decks and like when I don't do well. But it's like, again, I feel like a lot of where my frustration is like, if I had the option to just play whatever deck I wanted that day, I think I would be a lot, I don't want to say like happier, but like, yeah, I think I would be like way more content, and I think I'd be like, oh wow, like I get to play this deck today. That's awesome. And I don't have to be like, I'm playing the same deck for 6 months, because again, a lot of people can do that, but I don't think I'm one of those people. I played Grixis Control for like 5 months, and when I just talked about my Magic history, I played those decks for like a month or two, and then I got bored. And looking at it now, if I went back to Elves, I think that'd be super awesome. Do I want to play Elves all the time? Not really. But if I'm going to like a big tournament, and two, I think it's like super fun because one of the things that I really noticed is being like someone who is changing things up all the time really throws people off in their game because they have no idea what you're gonna do. So I'm known for someone who's like always gonna do something spicy. So people are always like, I don't really know what Tracy brought in for her sideboard, or like, I don't know, I didn't see that card coming. And that to me is like a really cool thing, because if you're net decking and people are like, oh, I know you're gonna play that card, it's like, okay, well, I have this kill spell in my hand to kill it. But if you play something that just totally shocks them, then it's like, oh wow, like I didn't account for that. That is really cool to me. Is that the only way to play? No, absolutely not. But to me, that's like an advantage, and I just think it's really cool. I just think that's like who I am as a person and like how I want to play Magic. So here's what I'm gonna do. Is I have my Magic binder of cards, what was I gonna say? Of like trades. And so I'm gonna throw a bunch of stuff on Puka Trade, I'm gonna get rid of some stuff, and then I'm gonna go and finish white blue. I don't know why I said that weird. Blue white. I'm gonna finish that up, get cards for some of my sideboard and stuff like that, and then I'm gonna start prioritizing other decks that I'm thinking of wanting to play. And my next on the list is actually Abzan. And it's funny because I feel like I am such a control player that it's so funny that I realized that, because I feel like before I was such an aggro player. I was like the beatdown deck, but then I switched to control, and then I feel like I can't, it's hard for me to like go back. I still need those kill spells, but I just love Abzan. Like I feel like a lot of people are doing Coco Company. Maybe that's, I don't even know. I haven't been even keeping up with like modern stuff, so I don't know what people are playing right now, but when I left it, people were playing Coco Company. I don't want to do that. I don't want to play, I love Collected Company, but I don't want to play Collected Company. I don't want to do a combo. I just don't want to do something like that, unless it's like Splinter Twin. That's what I want to do, but I don't want to do that. So, it's too fragile to me. I'm just kind of like, man, not really a fan. So, yeah, I think that my next priority is going to be Abzan, slash Grixis Control, actually, because I can definitely see myself playing that deck again. It's a really, really fun deck, and I actually really miss it, and I have to think about all of the decks that I played and which decks I miss. I feel like I miss tokens, like black-white tokens, simply because it was the first deck that I played competitively. Would I rebuild that deck in the future? No, I probably would never rebuild that deck, even though it was like a ton of fun. Just like there's some decks that I know I'll never play. Like there's some, like I'll never play Tron. I will never, ever, ever, ever play that deck. Never. We are never, ever gonna get back together. Not happening. What was the deck I put out to that? Bloom I totally miss. I would, let's be real here, if that was still in the format, I would so rebuild that deck. I would so do it. Again, I wouldn't play it all the time, but that deck was mad fun. I love that deck. Elves, like I said, I would probably like, you know, I kind of miss it. You know, I played it at GP Pittsburgh and it was like super fun, and I feel like I have that memory associated with GP Pittsburgh, so I'm like, yeah, Elves was sweet. That was like seriously one of the best times of my life, going to GP Pittsburgh. That was like so fun. I can't wait until I, you know, can do that more often. Like I can't wait until I like can go to like more Magic stuff and like with my friends. It was just like such a fun experience. So, yeah, and then Grixis, I totally miss Grixis. I just like that it was such a fun deck, and the reason why I took it apart wasn't because I was unhappy. It was just because I just needed a change of pace. But I will absolutely go back to that deck in the future. That deck was nuts. It was so fun. It ran Culligan's commands. Like it was just I just love that deck. It was just so fun to me. And I love the different avenues that I can take if I'm like, you know, I can do the more control strategy if I want to. Cool, I can do that. But if I want to do, you know, the more, like, aggressive kill spell strategy, I can do that too. Like, it's just awesome. I'm just, like, super excited about that. So, yeah. And blue-white I kind of left off with. I feel like, too, it was, like, because I just didn't have enough, like, practice with the deck. And then I felt like the thing, I think, why I stopped playing, I mean, there were a couple of reasons why I stopped playing Modern, but I feel like one reason was, I feel like I was, like, oh, I never lose against aggro decks. And I was like really arrogant, and that's like a really not good way of looking at it. And I was kind of like, oh, I always win this matchup. And to me, like, I always feel like that's never a good mentality to have. And I don't want to say that I was ever, like, rude to anyone because of it, but, like, I feel like I've heard some, like, in the past, people being like, oh, like, they're an easy player, or like, oh, I'm so gonna beat that deck. And, like, those are just not things that I really want to have. They're just not things. When I, like, sit down and draft and I'm playing against a 10-year-old, I don't want to be like, oh yeah, I'm so gonna beat this player. Like, I don't want to have that attitude. I just want to, like, play a game of Magic. Yes, they're younger. Are they amazing at draft? Probably not. But it's like, let's just, like, have fun and let's just play a game of Magic. So, yeah. Do I feel like I will ever, in the future, like, go to big tournaments and stuff? I mean, I don't know. I feel like I will, but I don't think I will for a while. I think I'm gonna, like, once I get back into Modern, I feel like I'm just going to ease into it, and I'm not gonna jump and go to every tournament that I can. And I think it's just, like, I just want to get way better at Magic, and I just want to, like, you know, do it. But, and I've said this before, Magic is not my life. It is, like, in my list of things that I have in my life, it's not, like, oh my gosh, like, I will ditch any and all things to go to a Magic tournament or whatever. It's not like that. It's, like, my future, education, what I'm doing, what I love, that's, like, number one on the list. You know, and then I have, like, my other things that I care about, whatever else I care about in my life. I don't know, like, family, friends, stuff, things, I don't know. Other things that I care about in my life, but to me, like, Magic has kind of, like, fallen on the priority list, just because, again, I'm, like, super busy. When I told you guys my schedule and I come back and I'm, like, so tired, I'm, like, ready for a nap. Yeah, so that's kind of, like, my life. So, yeah, but I do have plans on getting back in. Once I finish this placement, I'll have a little bit more time, because next semester I'm just going to be working and then going to school for my master's in special education, I'm pretty sure. Pretty sure I'm going to do special education. So that's, like, next fall, if I get into that program. But I'll go for my master's somewhere. I'm going to apply to a safety school, just in case I don't get into my school that I want to, but yeah, yeah, so I'm gonna work on that, and then I'm gonna probably get back into it, like, end of December, in, like, the 20s of December, and then, like, beginning of January, and, yeah, I'm just gonna kinda, like, go from there. You know, I miss my friends. I haven't been to my game store. I, like, really miss everyone, and, you know, again, it's a super, like, fun thing, and, like, I love going, and it's a totally social thing for me, too, so, yeah, that's all I got. I'll talk to you guys later. Bye.